We start with the 5th instalment of the Yew Tree Chronicles, and this week the Tisbury Yew is remembering the Normans.
The Saxon period was trundling along quite merrily. Well, that is, if you are a beautiful, vibrant, youthful tree as I am. Get it? Probably, though, the local peasantry might have taken a different view. What with the constant striving to put food on the table, working from dawn until dusk, sleeping in near proximity to your stinky animals, never-ending mud to trudge through, illness and death, a constant threat, and a lot of kings with a name beginning with E. Well, by the time it got to Ethelred, I'd given up trying to remember. As you can imagine, it was a shock and pretty annoying then when the news arrived in the village that King Harold, whose name one could actually remember, his reign was over, as was the era of Saxon kings, forever. It was 1066, and one arrow in the eye had called time on poor old King Harold. The Normans had arrived. Oh, the Normans. Well, they weren't quite up there with the Romans, but boy, did this lot know how to kill and plunder and then reorganise everything to their own advantage. They say if your ancestor was a pal of Billy the Conk, William the Conqueror, and good old Will bestowed land and money for your loyalty and ability to crush Anglo-Saxons, it's highly likely your family still has that land and wealth. It's grown exponentially. Anyway, this ruling elite of a king and his barons spoke Norman French while the everyday locals carried on speaking Old English, and Latin, of course, remained the language of the church. Lucky I'm a linguist. For the peasantry, it represented a clear distinction between them and us. But by the time they started building our St. John the Baptist Church here in Tisbury, the Normans had well and truly established their rule. William de Braos was one significant Norman baron who was awarded land around Tisbury and also a manor house in Downton. Can you imagine? And guess what? He was a trusted supporter of his king, William the Conqueror. I rest my case, my lord. One similarity with the Romans was that this lot knew how to build something that would long outlast them. Churches and castles popped up all over the place. Strangely enough, though, not Wardour Castle. It would be a few centuries on before that structure was to materialise, but it was built on fortifications that these early Normans put in place. In 1086, the Domesday Book was created. That was a great survey ordered by William the C, and in it, Tisbury was recorded as having a significant population of 300 to 400 souls, and it included several mills and our church. Apparently, no mention of me. Outrageous! Tisbury's greatest treasure ignored. As far as I could tell, other than a nice new church and a few well-turned-out ruling class types attending it, life for your average Tisburian carried on being relentlessly hard. As the centuries passed by, I did notice more and more men standing and staring up at me, measuring out imaginary bows made from bits of me, I surmised, but thankfully I was left alone. Other lesser yews were chosen to make the long bows that a young Plantagenet called Henry V would use in a battle called Agincourt. Next week, the Plantagenet dynasty, is on the rise.
The Yew Tree Chronicles.